Hello, math friend. We are ready to go. We are on lesson 26 today. We are still working with word problems and tape diagrams, but today we are not only going to work with Ms. Duckett, we're going to work with Ms. Kaylin and Ms. Curry today. So we're going to work with all three teachers today, including myself. So you get 4 teachers for the price of 1. So let's get started. Here we go. Find it. There we go. All right. We are on lesson 26. I can solve varied word problems. Word problem types within 20, excuse me. We do not have an application problem because all of our problems today are word problems. So we're not going to be doing an application problem, but you do have a fluency. Okay. Now I want you to set your timer. I'm going to give you, it says, you know what, let's do the 90 seconds. That's 1 minute and 30 seconds. Let's set your timer 1 minute, 30 seconds. Get as many as you can done correctly in that time. Don't turn it in until the very end, okay? When you turn in your application, or not your application, but your exit ticket and your problem set, then you turn in your fluency, okay? So pause video, go work on that fluency, then come back to me and we'll be ready to go, okay? All right, go pause. All right, back. I can't talk today, friends. I'm back. You're back. We're ready to go. Let's get started. You're gonna need a whiteboard, marker, something to write with. Paper, pencil. You must be doing these too. I lost my eraser. I think I accidentally threw it away.
Hi there, students. It's Miss Duckett here, ready to guide you through another math lesson. I'm so excited to learn with you all today. Today is going to be a really good lesson, and you might have some surprises coming your way too. Today, we're going to be solving comparison word problems. All you will need for today's lesson is your personal whiteboard and a marker or pencil and paper. So go ahead and hit pause to gather what you will need. And I'll be right here waiting when you get back. Did you get what you need?
We got what we need.
Well, if you're ready, let me hear you say, ooh, oh yeah, I'm ready.
Ooh, oh yeah, I'm ready.
Well, marvelous mathematicians, that may have been a clue as to what one of your surprises are. Let's get started with today's lesson. Today we're going to be solving comparison word problems using tape diagrams. I created an anchor chart for us to use as a reference. As mathematicians, we want to make sure that we check off each box in our anchor chart. Let's take a look at our chart. The first thing that we want to do when solving a word problem using a tape diagram is we want to read the entire word problem and ask ourselves, what is this about? Is it about pencils? Is it about erasers? Is it about spoons? I think you get the idea. Then we want to ask ourselves, are we comparing in this problem? Next, we'll ask ourselves, how do we set up our story as a tape diagram? After that, we'll want to read again carefully to see who or what has less or more. Then we'll add information to our tape diagram line by line. And lastly, we'll ask ourselves, is every part of the story represented in our tape diagram? Well, mathematicians, now that we've had a chance to go over our anchor chart, it's time to solve some word problems.
Let's do this.
But you're in for a treat. Hold on 1 second while I make a phone call. Hi, Miss Kaylin. Hi, Mrs. Curry. Are you guys ready? Hi, Miss Kaylin. Hi, Miss Curry. Mathematicians, today, Mrs. Curry and Miss Kaylin will be helping us to solve some problems. So with that said, mathematicians, let's read our very first word problem.
All right, here we go.
Read it with me. Lee read 16 pages in a book.
Kim read 4 fewer pages in her book. How many pages did Kim read?
Let's read that one more time, mathematicians. Lee read 16 pages in a book.
Kim read 4 fewer pages in her book. How many pages did Kim read?
I wonder what strategy I'm going to use. Well, mathematicians, let's solve this one together. Myself, Mrs. Curry, and Miss Kayla and I will be solving behind our ceiling walls. And we want you to solve as well. You'll be able to compare your work with ours when we're done. Go ahead and get started, mathematicians.
Okay, I'm going to pause because it always takes us longer. All right, so let's read that again. Lee read 16 pages in a book. Okay, so let's put Lee, and he read 16 pages. I'm going to draw my tape diagram, and I know that that's the total he read. So I'm going to make my total up here like this. Okay, Kim, so let's put Kim, read 4 fewer pages in her book. So she read less than Lee. So let's draw one smaller. Not too much smaller because it's only 4 less. And we're going to put a question mark there because we don't know. But we can come up here and draw and put a 4 because we know that Kim read 4 fewer. So that means that however many she read plus 4 more is what Lee read, okay? How many pages did Kim read? So now we can solve. We can take our 16 and we can either subtract it from 4 and get our answer, or we could take 4 and add it to something to get 16. Now,
if you need more time, feel free to press pause.
I know that 16 is really far away from 4, so I'm going to count up. That's a lot. So I am going to count backwards though. So 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. I could also look at that as saying 16 minus 4 and break it down to 10 and 6. I could subtract the 6 from the 4 and that gives me 2. But I still have 10, so I need to add my 10 back into it. I know that's a little confusing. That's okay if you don't understand that one, okay? So if I add up from 4 and, and 12, I'll get 16. So we know that Kim read 12 pages. All right, let's see if we're right.
To continue working. We're going to keep on going. Let's see how Mrs. Curry and Miss Kalen solved this problem. Take a look at their work. What similarities and differences do you notice? Let's look at how I solved this problem first. The first sentence in our word problem says that Lee read 16 pages in a book. So I represented the 16 pages with the tape diagram. So I drew Lee's model and labeled it with an L and 16 on top because he read 16 pages. The next sentence says that Kim read 4 fewer pages in her book. 4 fewer. For me, in my head, I thought about a number line and I represented 4 being on the left of Lee's tape. So here I represent the 4 fewer. So then I need to figure out how many pages Kim read in her book. Well, I knew that 4 plus some equals 16. So I counted on and I got my answer of 12. So I made a model for Kim's tape and Kim read 12 pages in her book. What do you guys think, Mrs. Curry and Ms. Keelan?
Wait, so is 12 the same length as 16? Because I noticed that your tape for 16 is the same length as your tape for 12.
Wow, that's a really good question, Ms. Keelan. Thanks for asking that. No, 12 isn't the same length as 16, but it was easier for me to visualize what was happening in the problem, thinking about it as a number line, which is why I put 4 on this side. But you're right, Ms. Keelan, and that's a really good push that I should really be thinking about the length of the tape diagrams.
Yeah, because what I did is I took that same 12 and 4, I just put the 12 first. So mine has 16 line here at the top for Lee, but at the bottom, I thought about the fewer being at the end of the kids.
Well, first I drew Lee's tape and labeled it 16 with an L because that's how many pages he read. And then I know that Kim read 4 fewer. So that fewer means less. So I drew a tape that was not quite as long as 16 and labeled that with a K. And then I imagined this space right here being equal to 4. So then I asked myself, well, 16 minus 4 would be how many pages Kim read.
I had that same number sentence too. I also did 16 minus 4. I agree with you, Mrs. Kerr.
Mathematicians, as you noticed, we all drew different models but got the same answer. Can you point to the teacher whose work closely matches yours?
I think we closely match Miss Kaylin.
Mathematicians, if you need time to correct your work, feel free to press pause and then press play when you're ready. We're going to move on to our second word problem.
Okay, erase and let's get
Let's
ready.
read our second word problem together. Nikhil's soccer team has 13 players.
Nikhil has 4 fewer players on his team than Rose's team.
How
How many players are on Rose's team?
Let's read that one more time, mathematicians.
Listen carefully.
Nikhil's soccer team has 13 players. Nikhil has 4 fewer players on his team than Rose's team. How many players are on Rose's team? Well, let's start solving. Don't forget about our anchor chart. Use that as a reference as we go through each step. See you soon, mathematicians.
Okay, I'm going to pause it. Okay, let's read. Nikhil's soccer team has 13 players. I'm going to put 13 in here for a minute. Nikhil has 4 fewer players on his team than Rose's team. So if I'm reading that, Nikhil's team has less than Rose's team. So Rose's team is going to have more than Nikhil's. And we know that they have 4 more because it said they had 4 fewer for Nikhil. So I know that Nikhil's team had 13 players and Rose's team is going to have 4 more. So I'm going to add it to get my total. So 13 plus 4 equals something. I know that 4 plus 3 is 7 and 110 is 17. So let's look at this. Are we comparing how many players are on a team? Here's our tape diagram. We know that both teams have at least 13 players, but Nikhil's team had 4 fewer. That means that Rose's team had 4 more, okay? Then we can say that here's our tape diagram. Here is our number sentence. So Rose's team has 17 players. Whoops. All right, let's see if we're right.
Here's our work, mathematicians. Miss Caitlin, you and I solved the same way. Can you talk to us about what you're thinking behind the solution?
Yes, Miss Duckett, we did follow the same. I started by drawing a double tape diagram. I knew Nikhil had 13 players on his soccer team, so I labeled his 13. And then I heard his way that Nikhil had 4 fewer players than Rose. But I thought to myself, if it's fewer, his is going to be shorter. So I made sure I added on to Rose's to make it longer. I added on 4 more to Rose because if Nikhil is 4 fewer, it means that Rose is going to be 4 more. 13 plus 4, 17. So Rose has 17 players on her team. Miss Curry, I noticed that you got a different answer. Did you remember to ask yourself who more, who had less? Actually, I did not ask myself that, and I'm wondering if I made a mistake. So I started solving just like I did on the last problem. I drew the kilo as 15 long and labeled it 13. And then when I read that was 4 fewer, I drew a smaller tape. And actually, I should have drawn roses longer, because if my kilos is fewer, then roses would be longer. I made a mistake and I forgot to ask that.
Not a mistake. That's how we all learn. Well, mathematicians, as you can see, even as adults, we make mistakes too. And like Mrs. Curry and Miss Kaylin said, mistakes help us learn and they help us get better as we progress with our work. So with that said, let's do one last problem. And make sure you always check the chart and go through each step. Here we go. Well, marvelous mathematicians, now you've had a chance to watch myself, Mrs. Curry, and Miss Kaylin solve some word problems and discuss the reasoning behind our strategies and our number sentences. Well, now it's your turn. We want you to hit pause and solve this word problem. When you're done solving, if you have a turn and talk partner, ask each other about why they use those strategies or how they came up with those number sentences. And if you don't have a partner, maybe you can think about how might someone else have solved this problem differently than what you did. So go ahead and hit pause, solve this problem, and we will be right here waiting when you get back.
Okay, so let's look at this problem, shall we? After dinner, Darnell washed 15 spoons. He washed 9 more spoons than forks. How many forks did Darnell wash? Okay, let's read that one more time. After dinner, Darnell washed 15 spoons. He washed 9 more spoons than forks. How many forks did Darnell wash? Okay, so what are we comparing here? We're comparing how many spoons to forks we washed, okay? So how are we gonna set this up? Let's look. Well, we know that Darnell washed, we know he washed 15 spoons. So I'm gonna write spoons and I'm gonna make it 15, okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put 15 here for right now. He washed 9 more spoons than forks. Okay, so does the spoons have more or do the forks have more or less? So let's read that again. He washed 9 more spoons than forks. So that means the spoons had more. So we're gonna make our forks a little bit smaller. And remember, he had 9 more spoons. So we're gonna really make that small. Okay. And then I'm gonna go ahead and draw it out here. This is the 9 from here, but I don't want to confuse you. So let's take that off. And let's do this. I've already messed myself up. Draw my 15 again. But this time it's going to be my total 15 and 9 more of those. Okay, so all right, so now we know that there are 15 spoons that have been washed total. 9 more spoons have been washed than forks. So here's our forks. We don't know how many are there, but we know that there's 9 less forks than spoons. So we're going to write 15 minus 9 equals something, or you could even say 9 plus something equals 15. Okay, you can do it either way. Let's count on from 9. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. How many? 6. And remember, even if I count backwards, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, I still get 6. So now I can say that Darnell washed 6 forks. because we had 15 spoons total, 9 more than forks. So if I took 15 from 9 or 9 from 15, I get 6. Or if I add 9 to something, I got 15. And I determined it was 6 forks. So let's check.
Welcome back, mathematicians. We hope that you were able to have some really good conversations around the strategies and number sentences that you used for this problem. And maybe you didn't have someone to talk with, but we hope that you were able to think about what other strategies could someone have used to solve this problem. Mathematicians, you did it. You worked so hard today. We are so proud of you guys. Mrs. Kalin, do you think that you can help us give our brains some love?
Sure. Repeat after me. My brain is great.
My brain is great.
My brain will grow.
My brain will grow.
The harder I work,
The harder I work,
the more I'll know.
the more I'll know.
And that's so true.
Well, marvelous mathematicians, now it's time for your problem set. Your must-do problems are numbers 1 through 3. As always, work your hardest for 10 minutes. And this time, Mrs. Curry is going to give us a cheer. What cheer do you have for us, Mrs. Curry?
This is called the mirror chair. Watch me. I'm gonna do it. It goes like that. Looking good. Okay, everybody. Put your fingers up.
Looking good.
I love it. Thank you, Mrs. Curry. Well, mathematicians, we'll see you next time. Bye.
All right, friends, let's go to our problem set. We do 1, 2, and 3 today. Let's read our directions, and then we're going to do number 4 as the example, okay? All right, read the word problem. Draw a tape diagram or double tape diagram and label. Write a number sentence and a statement that matches the story. You're going to do number 1, number 2, and number 3. Remember, I need to see all 3 parts in order to count it. So let's look at number 4 as an example. Well, look at that. We already did that one. They used our problem set as our example. So you know what? Let's do number 1 together. All right, number 1, we're going to do it together. So there should be no reason you get this wrong. Tony is reading a book with 16 pages. Maria is reading a book that has 10 pages. How much longer is Tony's book than Maria's book? Okay, now this one's kind of easy. Tony read how many pages? 16 pages. So that was his total. Maria is reading a book that has 10 pages. So we're going to make it a little smaller. Put a 10 here. Let's put 16 in here. How much longer is Tony's book than Maria's book? Okay. So, you know what? Let's take that 16 back out. Put it here. And let's make this one 10. How much longer is Tony's book than Maria's book? We know that they both have 10 at least, but Tony read more. So how can I solve that? Well, I can say 10 plus something equals 16, or I could say 16 minus 10 equals something. I know that if I take 10 away, so 10 less than 16 is going to be 6 because I'm just taking my 10 away. If I count on how many more do I need from 10 to get to 16? Just 6. So how much longer is Tony's book than Maria's book? Tony's book is 6 pages longer. Now, friends, I need to see a tape diagram, one of my number sentences, and a statement to get it right. Okay. You have 3 parts to your problem. You're doing 1, 2, and 3. This is number 1. There should be no excuse for you to get number 1 wrong. You're going to do 2 and 3 on your own. You're going to do your exit ticket, and then you're going to turn everything into me. You're going to turn the problem set in, the exit ticket, and the fluency all together. Okay. Here's number 1. You do 1, 2, and 3 on your problem set, all of your exit ticket. If you have questions, just email me or message me, and I'll see if I can't help you the best that I can, okay? So make sure you're doing 1, 2, and 3, all the exit ticket and the fluency. Turn them all in together, and I will see you guys on our next lesson. Bye, friends.